After the planting session was done, since I am using organic fertilizer and an organic garden, I cannot use GMOs, pesticides, insecticides and all. So I will be using natural alternatives of each. However, since I am not using any of these chemicals, the growth rate of my plants will be very slow. However, with India and the world being such a large and ever expanding population, this growth rate would not be sustainable for a very long time. That's why most farmers nowadays, they prefer chemicals because it will make it grow faster and it will be having a bigger and better product for the market. However, this is not sitting well with eco-friendly consumers, so that's why they pay more, because it takes longer for the plants to grow if you don't use any chemicals, as this is the natural process. However, since India is a big population, many farmers, they use GMOs or genetically modified organisms. Basically, they take a plant and they make it a super plant. So basically, they will have every time if you take an example of tomatoes, every time they will have a perfect tomato. There won't be even one fault in the tomato, and they will come out in such numbers which will keep the vegetable market okay. However, due to other circumstances such as the season, if I plant a crop at the starting of the season, by the end of the season only the crop will be okay and considered ready for market. However, most farmers do not have that much time. Hence, they gravitate towards GMOs and other chemicals. But as I mentioned before, this can have an adverse effect on our health. That's why health conscious people spend more money so that their health would be better. They can lead a healthier lifestyle. However, due to the increasing effort and time it takes, the price of these organic plants is also very high. Because of that, most people do not want to fork out a fortune just for some healthier alternatives to some tomatoes. But after they get sick with all these problems, then they will fork out a fortune on the medical bill. People do not realize that, and then they keep contemplating their decisions when it's already too late. However, if they start contemplating it a bit earlier, they will be having a healthier lifestyle. Anyways, now that my garden is planted, I shall be following the appropriate watering schedule and putting natural pesticides to scare off the pests. And now, as I said earlier, I will have to wait some time before I can update you with the progress. However, every few weeks I shall be taking few photos as a progression of how my garden is coming along. And whenever I find the correct opportunity, I shall be plucking some vegetables from the garden to make some food with. And because it is your own garden, you control everything. And if you have a greenhouse setup, you can even control the temperatural atmosphere and the amount of water. And then if you're doing like that, then I would suggest you do even hydroponics, where you grow stuff without soil, just using essential nutrients in the water. However, since I do not have a problem with nutrients, as I said, this is one of the most nutrient-rich soils in India, I will be using regular soil, not hydroponics. And I shall update you when I have a few plants ready. Thank you. As the months go by, we see the progression of the garden from nothing to a sprout. Sprouts. many sprouts. Now through the season, when the season is about to come to an end, now most of the crops have reached the mature stage where they can be sold off in the market. However, right now is almost the end of the season. So if I was an organic farmer who wanted to make a profit, I would have to sell those really expensive, because I have the wife, the kids, the rent, the electricity, so much to think about. How am I supposed to feed my family? And yet, I have to feed them. I have to make them strong and healthy. So that's why I have to sell them more expensive. However, there are less people buying the expensive stuff, so I have to make them cheaper. But then I won't be able to even break even on the effort which I have put. So that's the moral dilemma of organic farmers. They are trying to tap into a niche market which doesn't really exist. Very well, it exists, but people don't want to spend the money to buy the niche market. That's why we have a problem. That's why most farmers opt for GMOs, because they are easier, faster, more affordable for the regular man. Thus, they must make do with it. And the few farmers who decide to stay back in the niche market, they must make ends meet. So therefore, they have two businesses: one of the fake and one of the organic. Therefore, no farmer relies only on organic. If they sell it as a side business. Main one is the artificially integrated, I guess, artificially enhanced, so that it will go faster, bigger, better, rounder, riper, maybe taller, thicker, thinner. Really depends on what the product is. If it's like a tomato, so you want it to be rounder, riper, redder. As a significance, you want it to be tougher, so that when the person squishes it, it looks like it's tough, even though it's not even ready to be ready to be, I guess, sold. But it is sold because of GMOs. It fools us. It makes the outer shell so tough that when you push it, it looks like it is really ripe inside, but inside it's like some watery goo inside. Then you get mad at the farmer, but the farmer has to support his family, the kids, the wife. A lot of things go on behind organic farming. So yeah, to conclude, if I was a normal farmer, I would have to sell these crops at a really high rate. If I was not a normal farmer, then my products wouldn't be sold because everybody wants them. Because I planted these at the starting of the season. Now it's really almost the ending of the season, and literally twice only I've been able to harvest, and that only one crop. Yeah, and that only like one crop. The other crops I have put, but I'm not yet able to harvest them. So therefore I would have to lower my standards, and because my standards are lower, my prices would have to be lower, and then we get into a moral dilemma, complicated game of pricing and getting it right. And then you have to sleep at night thinking about tomorrow, whether the wife and the kids are going to be taken away or whether the house is going to be there, and then you keep stressing into too much stress. That's why most organic farmers eventually convert to artificial farming, because there are just too many complications for a niche market. However, if in future the price of organic farming comes down though, then it would be a market worth tapping into. But for now, at the current rate, most people would rather get unhealthy, die of some disease in hospital, than make some change to their life which could save potentially years of happiness, of love, but they do not want to spend the money, but then they want to spend the money in the hospital trying to save themselves. So to conclude, my points were as mentioned above in the 5 minutes and 20 seconds, that I would have to play a very risky game, and then thus the very niche people also, they have pre-ordered customers, like prefix customers, and then the customer texts them, then only they plant it, because it will take so long, so they have to pre-order it in fact. Yeah, and then that is just the tip of the iceberg, as they say, because there are some more complications about the evolution of the particular like species, like in banana, for example. Banana has been hit with two pandemic of parasites, and it has evolved. Farmers need to evolve with the crops they are putting out also. So it is a very complicated game, extremely complicated. You have the balancing, you have the balancing, and so many other complications which you need to take care of. Then only you shall become a good organic farmer.